What up, Fight World? It's the Mighty Mean Joe Frazier coming to you live again. Another episode of Fist Physics. This week we're just taking a quick recap of the fights that went down Thanksgiving weekend. And we're going to start off here with the HBO-sponsored event in Germany this weekend, which was Vladimir Klitschko, heavyweight champion, versus the number one contender, Tyson Fury. And Vladimir came in this fight with a massive record of 64-3. 53 KOs. Tyson Fury, 25-0 with 18 KOs. I mean, pretty decent record. For those who are not aware, these are two huge guys. Klitschko is about, 6'6", almost 6'7". Tyson Fury is actually 6'9". I mean, so these are guys who could have basically been basketball players, but they were in our favorite sport instead. Now let's take a look at how I saw the fight. Fury was actually on his bike for the first couple of rounds, which was really good because Klitschko was actually following him. From a fan perspective, I didn't understand why Klitschko would follow him around. Somebody with that experience level, you should know how to cut off the ring. Second half of the fight, Fury actually picked up the pace, and Klitschko was already seeming to me like he was beginning to get tired. He was out there just looking old. I mean, you're talking about somebody who had the belt for 9.5 years. I mean, it's a long time, and he's almost 40 years old. Fury was actually definitely the more athletic guy that night, and Klitschko just seemed to have problems pulling the trigger. The windows were open, and he just couldn't execute. There was actually a point in the matchup where his corner was urging him to catch and counter. And what that means is they wanted him to catch the jab and come over the jab with the right hand, which is something that fighters from the Crunk Gym, the Emmanuel Stewart proteges, this is something that they study to do, didn't see Klitschko execute that either. And plain and simple, I mean, Klitschko looked old. A lot of people, I heard a lot of talk that Tyson Fury was actually going to get robbed, so I was happy that he got the decision in the hometown of the champ. I mean, but just let you know the level that Klitschko did not perform up to. I mean, he's in his hometown. That should have been an easy win for him. Now let's take a look at the numbers. Tyson Fury actually throws 371 punches. Very high output for heavyweights at this time and date. He landed only 86 with 48 power shots. Now Klitschko threw a conservative 231 punches and only landed 52 with 18 power shots. I mean, me, myself, twice I saw him get in a good right, but it didn't seem to be too effective. Tyson Fury wins this one, unanimous decision. Two judges scored it, 116 to 111. Final judge scored it 115 to 112. So, I mean, right now we have a new heavyweight champion of the world. And I think this is great for boxing. I think that it's going to bring in more fans, just the new blood. This was a passing of the torch fight from the hands of one great champion to hopefully the hands of another one. But we'll bring that up later. That was the Tyson Fury Klitschko fight. We also had the Degale Bute fight. Got to see a few rounds of that. I think actually up to maybe the fourth or fifth round. Degale looked really, really good. He was throwing some great shots. I saw him switching from southpaw to orthodox. He was going to the body. Bute was still in there. He was out there trying his best, but I think he might be way past his prime at this point. So, I mean, good luck to Degale. Next year, hopefully we see him in some huge fights. We also had Errol Spence Jr. and Jermell Charlo win both of their fights by KO. Like anybody thought any less of that. Now, here's the one fight that I'm going to spend a couple of minutes on because I was really upset about this. I actually was, telling a lot of people about this guy, Amir Imam, and I still think that he's a really great fighter. He actually has a win over Errol Spence Jr. in the amateurs, I believe it is, and a couple of other name guys that are out there now. Now, he was in with a guy by the name of Adrian Granados. Well, hold on. Let me back up and just give you Amir's record. Amir's record was 18-0 with 15 KOs. his mandatory, which would have been the next fight. If he didn't decide to take this keep busy fight, he would have been looking to meet Postal probably in the spring for a shot at the title. He was currently ranked at number 6 in his weight division, which is 140 pounds, or what's that, junior welterweight. And they put him in there with a guy by the name of Adrian Granados, or Granados, 17, 4, 2, and 12. This was a major upset right here. Nobody thought that this kid Granados had what it took to beat a technically sound, God-gifted talent of Amir Imam, but he was actually able to overwhelm Amir with just a huge volume of punches. I wasn't able to look up the CompuBox stats, but when I watched the fight last night, Granados was averaging between 80 and 100 punches a round. It's really up there. Imam actually knocked him down, I believe, in a flash knockdown in the second round. But Granados was simply the busier fighter that night. He came on nonstop, applied nonstop pressure, and I believe the fight was stopped in the 8th. Amir just stopped throwing punches. He was trying to slip and hold, but it was just too overwhelming. The ref stopped it. I'm glad the kid didn't need to take any more punishment. I really do think that the factor that swayed this fight was the fact that Granados had legendary trainer and fighter Buddy McGurk whispering into the ears of the corner. Really upset about that fight. And because you know what? It was a fight that Amir did not have to take. So, I mean, he gets all the props in the world for taking that type of challenge. But once again, this was a fight that he did not have to take. I hope to see him in the spring. I hope he bounces back. Maybe even a rematch. I like to see that too if Granados isn't. But you know what? It's looking like Adrian Granados is going to try to see if he can get a Postal fight for a title shot. But I really would like to see these two guys rematch and see how Amir does again. I have a couple of problems with this fight that I'm not even going to get into on this particular video. So I'm about to just wrap it up right now. But it was a couple of issues that I had, just a couple of funny things. You know, if you watch boxing, as long as I watch boxing, I'm sorry, but what I saw on Saturday night was reminiscent of Margarito in the early days, reminiscent of Pacquiao in the early days, and Amir Khan in the early days. And if you really stay on top of your boxing, you kind of know what I'm thinking right now. But I'm going to leave it as that. So let's recap real quick. We got a new heavyweight champ of the world, Tyson Fury. We got Amir, upset of probably the year, losing to Adrian Granados. Congratulations, sir, on your big win against this top prospect. Degale versus Bute. Bute put up a great fight, but Degale is just a younger guy, fresher guy, sharper punches, accurate. And that's it. All right, folks, until the next time, until the next breakdown, we got a couple more fights until the end of the year. Look forward to me posting up my candidates for Fight of the Year, Upset of the Year, Hype of the Year. I'm going to have a couple of videos to hit you guys with. All right, Mighty Mean Joe Frazier. 1.